Welcome to this Behavior Q&A Ask the Experts session. Our first question relates to something that we can probably all identify with if we've ever encountered a dog in our lifetime, and that's the good old Crotch Hound. This dog plants his nose firmly in everyone's crotch when he first meets them. That's very embarrassing for everyone involved, including the dog's owner and whoever the dog is sniffing. So experts, when dealing with a crotch hound, what do you recommend?
Dr. C, I'm going to ask you to weigh in first on this particular question.
Sure. I love to weigh in on questions. So, dogs sniff all over people and even in our most intimate areas because they see the world through their nose. And so it's highly reinforcing for a dog who is trying to get more information about people visiting the home or in any number of contexts to sniff some of the most odoriferous places. So things like feet would be a great option, but they're not really available when people first come in because they're standing on their feet. So a lot of dogs will sniff crotches, and big dogs especially because their heads are right there. It's very convenient. The idea of teaching a dog to sit for a greeting instead of doing the nose squish into the crotch is a great option. When we are looking to change behaviors like this, an unruly behavior or a behavior that is a known species typical behavior that people don't like. It's not a pathology. It's not necessarily related to anxiety or anything like that. What we're trying to find is a behavior that we can find comfortable for us and also highly reinforcing for the animal that is incompatible with the behavior that people are trying to get rid of. So in this case, crotch sniffing. So sitting down, as long as it's at a distance from the stranger, can certainly accomplish this because the bum is on the ground, the head is up, but the dog is busy. They can't move in to the crotch area. I would say, though, that given that dogs that are doing this are trying to get more information using their primary sense organ, their nose, it can be very valuable to find alternative behaviors that allow them to collect that information as well. So any number of variety of behaviors that allow the dog to sniff something acceptable to get more information about that stranger is very rational. And I think Michelle was going to talk a little bit about training some of those behaviors, so I'm going to pass it off to her.
Yes, I absolutely. I love this topic as well because I have this dog. And yes, it is very embarrassing to have him check people's oil when they come into the house, is what we call it. So what I find with dogs like this is often they're very excited and they want to, greet the person and, like Elise said, get more of that information. So I often find that taking a dog like this and training a sit or a down can be a great alternative. But sometimes there's so much excitement going on for this animal, it's really difficult for them to do a stationary behavior like a sit or a down. So I like to teach alternative behaviors for those dogs that are really excited that keep them moving a little bit. A hand target is a great place to start because you're just teaching the dog to touch the person's hand, your hand. You can transfer it to the guest later if they're willing, and just touch their nose to your hand. You can move them around with that. Move over here and touch my hand and come over here and touch my hand. It gives them something to do with their snout that is not the inappropriate behavior of sniffing someone's crotch. And then they can also do something like follow the target hand and spin in a circle. So it's more active, and they get a little bit of that excitement out. And then you can easily transfer a behavior like that to the person who's coming in. So they do get to sniff them, but in an appropriate way instead of the more embarrassing way that they might choose to do other than that. So I think that can be really helpful is for those dogs that are sit and stays are great, but for dogs that are a little bit more excited and are having trouble with those, a slightly more active behavior can be just as effective as the other and sometimes a little easier for the dog.
Great, thank you for that.